welcome to the Pastors Podcast Season 10. So excited that you would join us. We love talking to pastors, as pastors, talking with other pastors around the table. That is the heart of this podcast. And you're probably wondering why Banning is not introing it. We bound him up, put him in a closet, and we said, it is our moment.
Yes.
This is a mutiny.
We've taken over.
We've taken over.
Yes.
It's Becky Johnson. And this is what I've always wanted to do, is take over Banning's world.
I'm behind
According
you.
to Banning.
And I have his wife with me and two of his good friends. So we're good. No, we're here in the middle of Pastors Conference 2026 here in Sacramento, and he's actually not feeling the best, but he still wanted this podcast to happen. So we're letting him get a little bit of rest, and we are tackling a topic that we're really excited about with some wonderful people. We're going to talk about raising up the next generation of leaders, because we know everything there is to know about that. And so just get ready, you guys. My name is Becky Johnson. I'm the lead pastor of Jesus Culture Sacramento. And just quickly tell me who I'm joined by, what you do, a little bit about you.
I'm SeaJay Liebscher. I'm married to Brandon Liebscher. I'm completely behind Becky in the takeover. We're planning a coup.
Yes.
I am a part of the staff here in Sacramento. I lead all the hosts.
Our volunteers.
Yes. And I lead the women's ministry.
And you have a wonderful podcast called Authentic You.
Oh, yes. We were just talking about it.
Talking about that. Yes. It's actually so fun. I have so many women here at the conference who keep stopping me. They're like, where are CJ and Erica? We love Authentic You. So you've got a great listener base. And that podcast is a little wild. So
yes. Only listen if you're confident in yourself.
Yeah. If you're confident in your salvation, actually. Yeah. That's true. And I'm joined by
Brandon Cormier. So my wife Octavia and I of 16 years, 4 kids. We live in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and we pastor a church that we planted 5 years ago, September of 2020, called Zeal Church. And we're about to plant our second location in just about a month's time. So pray for Zeal Church.
So excited. And you've been on the podcast before. You're here at the conference doing some breakouts, and we pulled you into this conversation because truly, I don't think there's someone who's doing this as good as you are, just the evident fruit of raising up the next generation. So I'm excited to get into this. And then, is this your first time on the Pastors Podcast?
I think so.
Come on.
I'm not as cool as everybody.
You are so cool.
You
Tell
are.
us who you are.
You're kind of too cool.
Trying to make it. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to make it in my space and
out here in the streets. Tell us your name.
just trying to do good. Yeah. For most everybody who doesn't know, my name is Gabe, and I'm a pastor at Bethel, and we do some things there and help to grow people and
do some.
I actually would
we
like
do a
to
few things.
clarify.
We do a few things there.
This is actually a reaction podcast to the podcast.
Oh, do you like that? Yeah, let's do that. That's fun.
Out.
It has been quite the few days. Yeah.
People are like, ooh, Bethel. Ooh, juicy.
Yeah.
But Gabe, you're a longtime friend of Banning and CJ. How far do you guys go back?
Oh gosh.
I met Banning and CJ, I think. I moved to Redding in 1996, and I met them my second day in Redding.
Oh my God.
I was going to say it's before we were married.
Yeah, my cousins who live there said, do you want to come to our home group? They were at home group for a youth group home group. And I didn't have anything to do that night. It was my second day in town. I said, sure, I'd love to go. And I rolled up on Bill Johnson's house, because that's where home group was. And the home group leader was Brandon Liebscher.
Oh my gosh.
With bleached blonde hair.
Yep.
Oh.
And Chris Kilala was in there, and a bunch of other people. I met Brian for the first time there, and CJ happened to be in it. And everyone was just kids. We're trying to figure out life. So
And then you married Bill's daughter.
Yeah, just instantly. Right there in that moment.
We actually did the ceremony that night.
There was
it
a dowry.
powerful.
There was a dowry given, and it was locked.
It was
Right
like
there,
2 cows. It was good.
How old were you when you got married?
I was 22.
How old were you?
I was 27.
27.
Wow, you were super old.
We're talking about the next generation. I want to talk about how long they're waiting to get married. I was 19.
I was 21.
Wow.
Okay.
My son's getting married. He's 20. He's 20.
How do you feel about that?
Now? Yeah, I feel great, I think. I think I was a little concerned, might be overstating it. Yeah, everything feels young. Like when I was 20, I didn't feel young.
Yes.
Right? I felt like I could do anything and take over the world.
Yeah.
But now that I have a 20-year-old, I'm like, you're a baby.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? And he's like, Dad, I've been
ready.
dating the same girl for 3 years, and I have, he's got all the right. The problem is he gives me all the right answers, and I'm mad about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, I just wish you were an idiot, but you're not. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have great things, and she's really great, really sweet, wonderful, all of those things. So, Yeah, I think it's my first one to do that. I have 4 kids.
Oh,
so it's my first one getting married. So anything
it's
new like
easier.
that, I think
Yeah.
by the time the 4th one goes, I'm like, hurry up. Probably.
Yeah, 16. Let's go.
Yeah, but
Well, I look at my kids. I had my first kid when I was barely 22, and I'm like, how?
Yeah.
How did
Oh,
they let
yeah.
me leave the hospital?
I do think 22 then is like 26 now. Like there's
Quite
a,
different, for
there's
sure.
A,
Yeah.
there's a, I don't know, we blame all the things. We could blame us now. We're the generation of adults.
No,
but I'm
not
like,
us.
they're
What are you
not,
talking about?
they're
No.
not as mature now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
yeah. So we're going to get into this conversation.
that must be true because we're adults. So that must be true. Yeah.
I mean, the
Yes,
sample
we are.
size.
Well, the samples.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're talking about raising up the next generation of leaders. Gabe, you're very involved with Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry, yes?
Yeah, I mean, I was led second year for about 17 years, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So you've been doing this.
I don't do that now.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, been doing
For
it for a long time.
17 years, raising up next generation. Zeal has a wonderfully, you guys are very multicultural and multi-ethnic and multi-generational.
Yeah.
So you guys have a fabulous young adults ministry. You guys have a leadership college, and then this is something that SeaJay has been doing forever as youth pastors at Bethel, and I am direct fruit of her raising up young leaders.
I take all the credit for you.
You should take a lot of it, actually. So that's what we're talking about. Let's just kick off with maybe why this matters. I think it's easy when you're in ministry to kind of like stay in your lane, find your lane, and relegate things like, well, someone else better do that because I'm not really good at it, or I might not have a passion for it. But why would you say like every pastor, no matter your wiring, should have at least young leaders on our radar or a strategy for them?
Yeah, I think for us, whenever we're thinking about long-term, like longevity, thinking about vision, strategy for the future, I think that there's something that happens whenever the church only looks backwards, or we only reminisce, or we only think in the here and now. I think that God has called us, equipped us, anointed us to think strategically. And for us, I think you can't really think about the future without thinking about the next generation. One of the saddest verses in the whole Bible, anytime I come across it, Joshua, whenever it says Joshua died and there arose another generation who did not know God or did not know the things of God. And so for me, that is like that verse, I think has marked me. And it's like, God, may it never be said of anything that I lead that the next generation didn't know. The power of God, the presence of God, the fire of God, whatever it is that you carry, I think we have a mandate and a responsibility to make sure that gets into the hearts and lives of the next generation.
Yeah, it is really like so short-sighted, right? To think that I don't have to worry about that. Or sometimes you just get so consumed with the here and now that you're not thinking about the 15-year-old.
Yeah.
That's, you're not thinking about your future staff. You're frustrated that you don't have the current staff you want. But it's like, that's when you got to start looking at the 18 to 20-year-olds going, I'm going to need a kids pastor, a youth pastor, a follow-up pastor, a whatever. So I need to start looking. I would say, wiring or not, you need to have like you said, the foresight to have this has to be important and on my radar, and I better figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
Because you can't afford not to.
Sure.
Truly.
So Brandon's way more spiritual in his answer. And
That was a good answer. I was like,
That was
I'm not talking after that.
was
That
like,
felt amazing.
all right, well, I'm moved now. Mine is probably driven. I'm pretty future thinking, so I'm constantly thinking. I have this amazing leader. So because I do volunteers, that's my life right now. So I'm thinking, okay, I have this amazing leader that's taken over this area, making it better. But they're not going to be there forever, and pretty soon they're going to move on to. So what's our plan? How are we constantly teaching the next leader to rise up, to step into something new? So creating, I guess, a system. I usually hate that word because I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
But systems that we're pulling up people, but we're pulling them up in a safe way to begin to experiment with, like, oh, look, you're good at this. Do you see where you're growing? Do you see what you're doing?
I just think it's so powerful to hear you talk about this, SeaJay, because like I'm a very type A, give me a system, I'll do it. Pipelines, it comes easy to me. But for someone like you, you're way more organic, more relational, and more, kind of that free structure.
I felt it, so I did it.
But I think you should speak to. I think what's interesting is what we've seen what happened in the church, which you were raising leaders up when you guys were youth pastors. It's been a part of you. But what happened is it was really like you've become amazing at this, driven by the need you've seen.
Yes.
Right? In your heart for people. Like,
yes.
I love people. Therefore, I want to have intentional systems to raise them up because you see, you're just potential. And like, if I don't intentionally invest in you and help you get to where you're going, I think that's been a really beautiful thing.
Because I'm moved by, we have, 450 thriving volunteers right now. But I cannot pastor and lead them all. So if I don't raise up people, then I watched so many that just fizzled out. And I was like, oh no, we lost them because the right person wasn't in place to make sure that they signed up for parking and the parking team wasn't taken care of to be able to pull up the right leader and make them feel powerful. And I am here for a reason. And then they go from there to something else. And no, it's one of my greatest honor that I have watching people of all ages. So you guys are talking about the next generation.
It's actually, we should talk about all ages.
But I have been so moved by the older generation that as their growth with the Lord, that they are not done.
Yeah.
I have a 60-year-old leader that's probably my greatest leader.
Yeah.
Because she's like, I want more of the presence of God. I need to learn how to speak in tongues. And as she's growing, she's leading all these younger people. And she's my head usher, taking on, I'm all.
I love that.
It's what wakes me up every day.
And the reality is, like, when you go to churches and you see healthy cultures, thriving churches, you're going to find a healthy, thriving culture of leadership.
Yeah.
Lay leaders, staff leaders. It's not, I'm never like this one pastor. It's all them.
Yeah.
It's all them. It's, man, they raised up leaders.
Yeah.
They have leaders like, out their ears and they've figured that out. I'd say it's a secret sauce to impactful churches, not just impressive ones, but ones that are actually like you guys are impacting the city through the leaders you're raising up. Bethel is impacting the nations.
Right.
Through the
we got nations, bro.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you just got cities.
One day I'll get there.
You have Colorado Springs right
it's
now.
Coming. Give me 15 years.
Through the leaders. And so, let's talk about like why don't we do it?
Why don't people?
Yeah.
It's hard.
Why don't you do it?
It's hard.
You're impacting nations.
It's messy.
I think we try to do it. Listen, I think sometimes we forget that like raising up people requires you to do something.
What?
Like it requires time and effort and it requires life of sacrifice and you're laying down stuff. I think most people want to be the leadership style pastor, roll in, preach on a Sunday, do the thing, tell people what to do, and it magically gets done. And I'm like, well, who's doing the work? The work is with people. And so, especially for churches our size, to be fair, like lest we forget, like someone's actually growing, developing, impacting, spending time with, engaging with, as best we can, some of those people. So I think people don't want to do it sometimes because it becomes overwhelming. And we love the, often we love the supernatural part of ministry.
Totally. God showing up.
Yeah. And then we forget that Jesus went back with his disciples and hung out and had a meal and engaged and they prayed together and they did life together and they walked together. And there's a whole bunch of things that happened in between miracle to miracle that we don't talk about, but was actually there.
Yes.
And that's the piece where I think, a lot of the growth and development that happens in someone's life is in between miracle to miracle. That happens even when you have a supernatural culture. So I think that for me, I'm like, there's a lot of reasons not to. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
There's no fruit in the not to. But
it's so true. And that's where you get, like we all have seen the ministries that have a moment but no legacy. It's like, wow, the person's dies out. It's based on a person. Or an impact and then it's done and you're like, wow, how much, but like you said, I think it's just flat out, it's work. And people are so messy.
Yes.
So
messy.
Incredibly messy and time consuming. We want the quick fix, the miracle, the moment, but it is like, okay, it's dinner on the table. It's sitting with people.
Yeah.
It's the mundane, so what are you guys seeing practically? Like, how do you, apart from just like, hey, do the work,
Yeah.
What does it require? Is it like I gotta make a list and go find the people, or how are you guys seeing it happen in your churches?
Yeah, I think for us, it begins with you got to have some level. Everybody has a system. Now, whether or not your system is working or not, and it tends to be people whose systems are working and be like, look at our system. But whenever it's falling apart, it's like, we need to be like, well, look at our system. It's not working, right?
Yes.
And so I think it all starts with some type of pipeline, some type of organized system. For us, it's inviting people in, going through this process. We call it discovery. We're about to add to that to beef it up just a little bit, because then what we are discovering, which is the tension, I think, both with young leaders and really just discipling and raising up leaders in general, what really defines like a leader in our church? What defines really, are you a part of this house besides giving, besides serving? So what we were seeing is like lots of people are like, hey, I'm involved. Do you believe doctrinally what we believe? Like, where are you on that spectrum? And then making a decision, okay, what all do they have to believe in order for them to serve? So it's like, do they have to believe before they belong? And what level of belonging can they be at, right?
Yeah.
And so I think we've been wrestling with that as a 5-year-old church. We wrestled with it whenever we were 2. And now that we've turned 5 and kind of hit the next precipice, it's like, oh, we may need to redefine and also give a little bit more clarity. So for us, it looks like in discovery, that's our volunteer kind of requirement process. But now in order to engage in a spiritual leadership role, we're adding something else called essentials, where, hey, you're going to go through like 6 weeks and we're going to talk church doctrine. We're going to talk about like like worldview. We're going to talk about the things that are like distinctives of this house, because you got to carry a little bit of this before you lead a small group, because it's not helpful for you to lead a sinful small group. Like, love you and so glad you're here, but if your small group is leading people to sin, I'm not sure that's not helpful. I'm not sure that's helpful, I know, super deep, but it's a trial and error.
Yeah.
And so it took us a while to
for
get
small
there.
Group, you cannot sin.
Yeah, by the way,
can't lead a
champion sin, and that's where it's like, oh, there's championing of sin. We should probably revisit this.
Yes,
So I
yeah.
think with young leaders, it is that whole principle of take them through that process, but then it's like, hey, come and watch me, do it. Come and do this with me. You do it. And now I give you feedback on how you did it.
Yep.
That's kind of like our general model
Yeah.
where we encourage our leaders whenever they're raising up and developing people.
How much of this do you
That's
think you
awesome.
could just tell people to do? How much do you think a leader can go, I want you guys to do this? Like you were saying, I want to roll in, like how effective.
I mean, you could do it. You could do that.
Again, bad system.
It's not going to be real. But I think lots of churches do that. Well, here's what I say. I think lots of churches do that, and then they say really stupid things like we have an empowerment culture. And it sounds awesome.
Yeah, because we told you to do it. We had a need, and you could do it.
You're so
Go do
empowered.
it.
Yeah,
We're
we
so
empowered you to
empowering,
do
guys.
it. But we didn't do anything that you just talked about. There's no let me give you feedback. There's no let me sit with
Training,
you. There's no
resourcing.
development. There's no any of that stuff. But we have an empowerment culture, which means I just gave you the keys to my car. I hope you don't wreck it.
Yeah.
Right. And then they do wreck it. And then we get mad because they wrecked it.
And replace
And
it.
I'm like, you're an idiot. The leader, right? Not the person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, we have to actually develop people
Yeah.
in the process. But I think lots of places, I've come from the church world, lots of churches that I know, they get away with stuff they should never get away from because on accident they produce good
Yes.
leaders on accident. They didn't do anything. They found someone who was amazing. That someone who was amazing became someone amazing by no fault of the leader because this other person was like in their word, seeking God,
Yes.
figuring it out,
Yes.
doing
Call
stuff.
that grace.
Yeah. And then the leader goes, look what we did. And I'm like, you didn't do any of that.
Unless you can tell me how, right? It's like, well,
Yeah, I
they just
think-
showed up. It's like, but
Yeah.
when you can like Brandon, like you're articulating, here's actually how we're doing
Yeah.
it. I think that's a really good thing to look around and go, did God just grace me with a couple amazing people and I think I did something?
Yeah, and I hope that happens to you. Like that's happened to me. Let's be clear. Like
We all need those.
We all have
Yes.
those people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think I am that for some people, to be fair. But I'm just saying, no, I think that's true. But I think there has to be a spot if we're going to actually grow and develop people, where we have to figure out who we're doing that with. And again, probably for places our size, and it's hard to do that. You have to have a bit of a system because how are you going to actually grow and disciple and develop, 500 people? There's just one of you.
Yeah.
So now it becomes who am I discipling and growing and developing so that we can perpetuate that
Yeah.
throughout our culture, right?
that's
And we're
so good.
developing a culture. So that's why I think the young leaders for me are really valuable, is because we're trying to, continue a culture that we have, in the environment. And
So good.
and that for me is really important. And I often think too, like we say young leaders and forget like the Gospels are full of a bunch of 20-year-olds, some 17-year-olds in there that are, laying the foundation for the church as we know it, and we're like, man, maybe someday when you're 40, you'll figure this out.
Then we'll finally give you some responsibility.
Yeah. And, I think if you're a leader and you don't have a plan for how to actually release some of these people into the work of ministry, it's...
I think one of the big reasons we don't is we're just afraid of the mess.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at Bethel for 7 years, and I would say it's an empowering culture, but not we're lazy, we're just accidentally empowering. It's like, we're going to let you. Chris was actually talking about it on the panel. He goes, what makes people upset about Bethel is we don't control people. And we empower them, and it's the mess that I was a part of too. Not even like, wow, it was so messy, but like,
I just heard you say we're messy, but that's
no,
okay.
it's the ability to go,
okay,
you know
you're
what?
reaching
Like,
an
we're
age.
gonna try this out, and it's all right if you don't do it perfect. And there's a accountability in leaders to walk through the other side of it. And it's like, so you've got young people taking risks, you've got people stepping up, you've got people building things and doing things like in a mass scale. But it's working because there are leaders going, we're committed to being with you when that works and when it doesn't work. And I think that's something that's just so beautiful, but it doesn't come without so much intentionality.
No, we're not perfect at it. Like, we're in a bit of a transition season ourselves. So oddly enough, Bethel's been around a little bit longer. What do you have, the 5-year mark you said?
5 years.
5 years. So we've been around a little bit longer, but we're in the same spot. Like, we're having to recommunicate culture and vision and on purpose doing that because we haven't been as, probably as intentional as we would like in recent years. And we're like, oh man, we got to reestablish some of the things that are really key to who we are as a house and the biblical values and the foundation and all those things. So, and then, for us, we had a school for so long that it was wonderful and amazing, but we would pull everything out of school. So our best leaders came from school and I love it. It's 3 years of development. So of course you want to pull that, but as those things change and as school's not as big as it once was and all that, we're having to look and go, oh, how do we actually strengthen the local body, the church in a way that, not because we did it intentionally, we just haven't done maybe in the way we needed to. So we're in the middle of that. So I think there's always a thinking through how do we actually stay intentional with the people that the Lord gave us to lead,
I have like a little bit of a backseat view of watching Banning lead. And as I was raising kids when we first planted the church, and I watched as we hired people. And even now, every once in a while, I feel like it's shifted recently. It'd be like, okay, we got to find this amazing person that is going to fill this role, and we need this gift and this gift. And you're kind of hoping to just find that person. And they're just going to land and they are going to solve all the things. And then they land and they can be amazing, but they still have to go through a long culture shift, which is shocking every single time. Yeah. But I'm looking at where our church is now. And the fruit of, you came into Banning and I's life at 18. And it wasn't like when we met you, we were like, we are going to raise up the next lead pastor.
I know people ask that all the time. I'm like, guys.
I thought that, though, to be fair.
But we just poured into life. And then I look at the youth pastor after you that you invested in. Yeah. And there's so much that comes from the leaders that you invested year after year. And even though there was messy, bumpy spots along the way, what we have is got so much more depth in the leadership of you leading this thing and you being able to take it your direction than if somebody from the outside were just coming in as like, found the person, put them here. It's I'm looking going, there's so much more depth. There's so much more freedom for you to be who you're supposed to be as a leader because you were raised up by people who believe in you.
So true.
And are here.
But it just took a decade. And I think that's what we have to shift. Guys, we have, and maybe not to diss it, and maybe I'll use it one day, and I'm sorry if you've used it, Brandon, but there's there's headhunting church. There's companies that are like, we'll go find a church staff member for you. Tell us what you want. And I'm like, that is a problem if we're just putting out a list of requirements, and what we're basically saying is go raise, hopefully someone's been raised up by someone else for me to fill this need. Yeah. And I'm like, if you are and maybe sometimes it's a necessity, and never say never. Who knows? Maybe I'll be on whatever app. I'll put my resume on there. Maybe I'll be pick me headhunted if this doesn't work out. But
I would like to know how to get headhunted, to be honest. So.
Can
we sign up for these
I look at that and I go,
I used to work for a company, so I got you.
That is because we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Yeah, for sure.
And actually, I've looked into those. The retention rate is really low of those people who get
depends.
But it's the
deployed.
time, right? I mean, I think that's the ticket. Is we have phenomenal leaders, in our environment. But I look now, the people that are, traveling the world and all the honor they're getting. I'm like, oh, I knew them in school.
Haley Braun she was in second year when I was in first year. I'm like, this was 17 years ago. We were just students.
I hired Haley.
Yeah.
The first one, and she came to my office and she thought she was interviewing for like an admin position. And we were trying to make her a pastor. And she told me all the reasons for 30 minutes why she was good with like Excel. And I was like, what the heck? What are we doing? And, and I just think to do that, if you're gonna get kings, I think you have to pick shepherds sometimes. And for me, I'm like, if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to end up with a result that you're going to end up. And some people are like, well, how do I get Haley's? And I'm like, oh, it's not that actually.
So go get them.
It is challenging. But go getting a Haley is different. Are you willing to invest the 15 years it takes to pour into someone's life?
And even to go through kind of there's a stage where you're waiting for that development. There's a stage where this leader is who we are supposed to be with. They're not there yet, but we know.
You are doing that right now with so many people.
Yeah.
On a volunteer basis of you're going, they're going to be the next leader. I know it. Yeah.
It's messy right now. And I fill in gaps for them every once in a while.
It's good.
But I know they're supposed to be there. So what do you do in that stagnant place? Do you quickly jump in and replace them, or do you stick with them to raise them up?
I think too, can I just say the other piece for me feels really important is if we're not careful, we're raising people to get them to a spot. Like I want a Haley. What you're really saying is I want someone who can preach, who can teach. If you can get me a woman, that'd be great. If she preaches fiery, that's awesome. Can they be prophetic? Like that's really what they're asking me.
Wow.
Right? But but we didn't start going, can I just get that? Like that was in her somewhere.
Yeah.
And I would have invested the same thing if at the end result I got someone who wasn't on stage, who wasn't a fiery preacher, who that's not the goal. The goal isn't.
Yeah, that's good.
The goal is change the world, but you can do that lots of different ways.
That's funny. I've never invested in a leader with a final goal in the end.
No, we've never had. But when they ask me about that, they're not asking. They're really asking me, "Can you get that thing at the end?" And I'm like, "You can't, because you're not going to go about it the right way."
Right. Yeah. That's so good. Yeah.
You have I know James travels with you, phenomenal staff member, like emerging, seems like a young leader.
Yeah.
But again, I see. We are, funny enough, traveling all the same places. I think if people invite Brandon, they're like, invite Becky Johnson as well. It's funny,
I'm here for it.
I'm watching you travel with him, and it's discipleship. It's this life on life. I'm sure he's watching you. You're letting him see, and it's just that.
Yeah.
It's just the time.
I think, Becky, what it comes down to is a willingness to walk with people in various seasons, and to SeaJay's point, knowing that this may or may not work out.
Yeah.
This may or may not turn out how you are hoping or thinking or wanting it to turn out. But I think you're worth the investment.
Yeah.
And we'll just see in God's providence and with his hand and all of that. But I think it takes a kingdom mindset, because if you don't work well here, I know the time that I spent with you is going to be multiplied in somebody's church, in somebody's ministry, in somebody's world. And
or
so
in
it
their
comes
life.
down to, or just in your life, in your practical. So I think it's just that open-handed, like, you don't belong to me, like holding things and people so loosely.
That's great.
And still investing, because some kind of way, there's going to be a kingdom ROI on this. I just know it,
You could probably speak to, I know Bethel's like, you guys, it's just hundreds of students every year getting the culture and getting deployed. How have you guys had to navigate the, we're investing for another church, and being able to hold them loosely? Even I'm sure there's been people that you've wanted to keep.
I don't want to keep you. There's lots of people that I want.
He said Exhibit A.
Exhibit A.
So how do you?
Exhibit B. No, I'm just kidding.
How do you do that? To go like,
they're not mine.
It's good.
Like, I think that's a great point. Like Jesus said, feed my sheep.
Yeah.
There is.
He didn't say, you know, I would joke, but I'm like, he didn't go to Peter and be like, hey, do you like sheep? You know what I mean? Like, he didn't do that, right?
Yeah.
I've been saying that a lot lately. It gets good traction.
Come on,
but,
I like it.
But practically, I'm like, they're not mine. And I think for me, I've said a long time ago, if I do my job right, everybody but the Lord and my wife is going to leave me.
That's
Do you know
really
what I mean?
good.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Yeah.
like I have 4 kids and one of them's getting married. I'm like, yeah, that's what actually should happen. And sometimes the worst thing I can do is go, you need to stay at home.
Right.
You know, you don't mature the way you need to mature if I keep you at home. You don't do this. And
Very
as much
good.
as I love him in my house, and there's not a thing in me that goes, you're 18, get out. Like
Right.
that's not in there. I love you.
Yeah.
But sometimes the best thing I can do is go, you should be somewhere else, and I'm going to invest everything I can in you until.
That's good.
And I don't know when the until is, but until, and nothing's wasted.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter. Like, you know, I remember the same kid, right? He loved baseball. So you did this with your kids. We did travel ball.
Oh, yeah.
You know how much money travel ball costs?
I've heard.
And I thought I was going to get like an MLB pro player.
Or at least something.
Yeah. Do you know what I got? I got a kid his senior year went, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And I went, you owe me money.
Yeah.
No, we didn't really do that. If I'm not careful, I go, well, we shouldn't have done any of that because it's wasted. Instead of going, oh no, that built character.
the journey.
That was time with
Yeah,
you.
it's
That
the
was
journey.
trips in the car with you. That was worth every investment we ever made in you.
That's good.
That made you a better man, and that was my job. My job is to make you a man.
Very
That's
good.
really
And
good.
guess who's going to benefit from that? This person you're marrying
Yes.
is going to benefit from that. And that's really my role as a dad. That's my role as a pastor.
Yeah.
So
It's fathers.
I have that for me is a joy to
Yeah.
go, man, go serve that other place and be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
very good.
they said it yesterday in a session. Our job isn't to raise sons and daughters; it's to raise mothers and fathers. So you
Very
got to
good.
make that transition. I think that can be a sticky point for leaders. Is just the fear, which we could be honest. We've lost people we've invested in, and
Yeah, it's painful.
painful, or
Sure.
you've wanted to keep them, but then if you live in reaction to that, it's just going to smaller and smaller. Or you get to that, I'm going to just hire the people already developed because it's too painful to go on the journey. And sometimes the journey doesn't work out, as you shared in the other podcast. It's just that horrible, messy situation.
Yeah.
Years of investment
Yeah.
that just ended.
And you gotta be you just gotta be okay with it. And I think it comes down to a heart posture, right? Like if the good shepherd could take a risk on me,
Yeah, that's good.
I think in our shepherding we've got to be okay with taking risk on people, because I think it's so much more than just it's not the destination. It's exactly what you said. It's the trips in the car. It's the conversations, because something's being molded in your heart. It makes you a better leader. Every single corrective conversation, every single painful place, it shapes you, right? So,
That's true.
It does. I think we forget as much as the Lord, as much as we're growing people, because that's our role, our responsibility, that God is trying to grow us.
Yeah, we're under shepherds. The
You know what
shepherd
I
is
mean?
shepherding us.
And we
as we're
forget,
shepherding.
like we get these painful moments. We're like, Lord, why? And the Lord's like, I'm actually doing something in you.
Yeah.
Lest you forget.
Like, hold on, I had it all together. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah,
so true.
I thought I was done. Can we be
Yeah.
done?
Yeah, no,
I would like to be
totally.
done now.
Yeah.
Like
Ready
that's
to
how I
graduate.
do feel that all the time. Like I would like to be finished now.
Something that we get a lot from pastors is, well, what are you looking for? Or people will ask, like, what were you looking for in Becky that made you pick her? Or what are you looking for in people when you're going, I'm going to raise you up, or I'm going to invest in you? Because it's funny how people are trying to, how we try to get out of this. I don't have anybody worth of investment.
Mm-hmm.
These people are not, like, what are the things? Are there people that you go, not good soil, not going to go there? Or are there things you're looking for in people going, okay, there's something I can work with here? Just to help pastors, like if they're sitting there going, guys, nobody in my church is ready for this. Like, how can we help them go, hold on, like, do they not want to sin?
Yeah. Let's start there.
What are you looking? What are some of the things that you guys? And I'm sure it's different for everybody. Like, what are some of the things you're looking for?
Yeah, well, I was so interested. We're sitting here talking. I'm like, I think Banning and I have naturally probably just done this our whole life without knowing we were doing it to raise up leaders. My kids get irritated because they're like, Mom, not everything is a challenge that I have to do better. not everything I should be aiming for better in. And I was like, what are you talking about?
What do you mean?
You're okay to do something mediocre in life? Like, what are you talking
Whose kid
about?
is this?
Yeah, I was like, excuse me, you will be the greatest PetSmart employee that there ever
Yes.
was,
I
you know?
love that.
And, but I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, we're talking about being intentional about raising up leaders. And I'm like, but I do think that is what you do if you're intentionally raising somebody, no matter where they land in life. It should be, I am raising you up to connect with the Lord, to be a leader in your own life. So it is different, though, looking at it in a church. But I'm like, I do think if you're simply raising up leaders to benefit your church, are you really raising up leaders?
So true.
Or are you just trying to raise up people to
Fill
help
roles.
your church grow?
I need this, I need that.
Because
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I'm like, at the same time as you came into our life, there was another spiritual daughter in our life who is nowhere near working in the church. And I would never think, man, it's a lot of time spent.
Yeah.
Really ruined it for me. Why isn't she working for us?
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
you know, so I'm like, I do think even as you're looking for people, if you're really invested in, I want to see them be who God's made them to be, then if they end up in the church, they're going to.
Yeah.
I mean, you had a whole bunch of other things you were going to do.
I was just going to say, I knew along the journey that if I didn't end up in ministry or Jesus culture, I wasn't losing access to them because they were invested in me.
Yeah.
And so I think that's such an interesting
But
point.
I remember the moment that Banning said, there's something on Becky's life. There's something on her life that is for more than this. And I was like, oh, okay. And it shifted. Like, okay, we're going to shift in what we're doing with her.
Yes, it didn't happen by accident. It was very intentional.
But the initial years of just investment, connection, and growth was just care for the person.
Yeah. I think sometimes it depends. Well, again, for me, I'm like, well, my responsibility is the church. So I have to find a way to do what you're saying with the church as a whole.
Yeah.
So that's true. But then there's levels of investment that I can make differently, right? So I'm looking for, like, not everybody can go with you. How do you sign? I'd like to do that. How do you sign up to do that? You know what I mean? Like I want to go on trips. You seem like a really fun guy. You know what I mean? So let's do that. Like
James, move over. It's Gabe.
Yeah.
Gabe now.
Sorry, James. So
It's the strays.
yeah, listen, you need a Mexican somewhere with you, bro.
He speaks Spanish.
Enough to get by. I can get you. Do you know what I mean? Poquitito, habla poquitito, pero no habla muy bien.
He can order good food for you.
Can get
and
you
he
food.
knows
We
what to
can, we
eat.
can find a
Yes.
restroom. We can do all the necessities.
Yeah, I can find a restroom.
Yeah. So I would say practically though, like for me, I go, okay, Lord, I always try to be aware. Lord, who are you highlighting?
Yes.
Because I think sometimes we miss moments because we're intentional moments. Like I think sometimes the Lord's intentional and we think it's accidental. And we miss moments because we're not aware of what's happening. And if I can be aware of those moments and even just a small interaction, and I can tell you so many people that I met and something, just an initial connection, I thought the Lord's on that somehow. You don't force it.
Yep.
A year will go by, a year and a half will go by, and they'll come back around and the Lord's like, okay, now's the time.
Yes.
Wow.
And
Ooh, I love that,
you may
Gabe.
give them 2 months, you may give them 2 years.
Yes.
Right? And you got to be okay with people coming in and out of your life because that's how the Lord sometimes does it.
Absolutely.
Right? People come in, they come out, and they may sit at my house 2 years, come after church, come on a Sunday night, come have in and out, come do whatever, right? And then, but that investment is valuable. And then there might be some you're just like, well, maybe it didn't pan out the way we thought. But
that's all right.
we're just trying to be intentional and follow the Holy Spirit in those moments. For me, if you can do that, you'll be surprised about who God actually highlights, I think.
Because they're sent, Gabe, and I think that's the thing. It's a stewardship issue. So we're talking about James. I met James originally. He was at a wedding of a young man who was in my youth group. So I was doing the wedding. Actually, him and this young man before that guy had gotten married, James and him had met in college. So he brought him home from ORU. I was discipling that guy. They came over. I made lunch for them. We just kind of start talking. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then several years roll by. I see James again at his wedding because we do his wedding. And so I was like, hey, what's going on in your world? Oh, he was getting married. They were in ministry. So then whenever we were planting our church, it was like the Lord just kind of like brought hey, we should. So I think there's a couple things. I think if I were to just kind of echo what you were saying. I think number one starts with availability. Availability is not the only thing, just to be clear, because it's like we got a lot of available people. And it's like, but you can't do anything and you're not teachable. We've got lots of availability. And it's always people with no ability who have all the availability. Come on, let's just be real. It's like there's a reason why you're so available because you can't do anything. Okay. And so it's true. It's real.
Oh, bro, I'm going to steal that so bad.
So I think it starts with availability, but then it's also some level of ability, spiritual hunger, growth, whatever. So availability, ability, and then teachability. I think whenever you have those three as like lead pastors or in pastoral ministry, then I would call that a lot of times one of the mentors in my life, Pastor Chris Hodges mentions, he says, look for divine flow, Brandon. There's going to be people you interact with, even if it's in a room, small group leaders, they're serving in the park, but there's a divine flow. And you don't have to like everything. You don't have to, let's, talk about golf for 3 hours. No, there's a divine flow, and just clock it. Like, come on, clock it. And then whenever it happens again, then say, hey, let's go to lunch together. Let's just kind of like, tell me about your world. It's organic, but there's also a system of how we have to go about this, because at the end of the day, we only have so much time, right?
Yes.
So it's not like I'm just going to, mentor the nations. No, you're not. Like you're going to change a few leaders and then that'll be multiplied. So I think those are some of the indicators practically which you can look for and who you're going to invest in.
I would also say, I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, I feel like we're talking about two different type of investment in leaders too in this process, because there's the people we're talking about that fill like the massive role. That's like, hey, I'm not just going to pick you up in our elements class, which is like our get to know you can serve after you've gone through elements.
Okay.
And now you're going to jump into a massive role in the church. But that is like our first initial, I have a funnel of leaders that come to me, or a funnel of people that I get to put into simple roles in the church, and I get to begin to see and check like, oh, there's something on that person. I'm not sure what it is, but it's a safe, simple. And then, but that deep dive with people, you're like, oh, I think there's something more on their life. Yeah. There's something more. And, so that is different. It's like, as you're trying to raise up leaders in your church, I think that's a different level of raising up than raising up there's something on. Like there's something on Haley's life. We're going to invest in the long run.
Both, though. Like,
I think we should absolutely do them both. I think you find them sometimes in the process. Like you start with like, oh, this is good. Then you're like, there's something more there. Oh, we're going to build more. We're going to build more. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, we're going to take this even deeper.
Yeah. I think you should be doing both. And I think a challenge we've been newly putting in front of our volunteers and our staff is, we took it from one of our staff members from another church. He goes, who's your plus one? Like every single one of you need to have someone attached to you. Who are you pouring into? Figuring it out. Maybe it doesn't last, but you got to be attempting all the time and kind of going, guys, it should be a red flag if we're walking around with nobody kind of attached to us.
That's good.
I do the meetings myself. I travel myself. I do all these things by myself. Right. It's like, no. So it's been really cool for us to even have our volunteers get someone attached to you while you're doing the parking lot. Get someone attached to you while you're making coffee. Have that plus one, but we have to model it. And I think that's something that, again, we want the developed person. We want the end product. Yes. But you got to start with and I would say anybody that hasn't made it with us in leadership development had lacked a teachability. I mean, it's just like, I think at some point you got to go, if you are not going to take this, that I can. And I think a lot of leaders spend so much time trying to fix the teachability.
Sure.
Where it's like, I don't know, maybe permission right now to just step away. Like if they're not teachable.
I do kind of run from the ones that if you don't do it exactly right, like, well, if you would have said it to me like this, then I would have known. I'm all
Lord, have mercy.
Yeah, I think both. Well, here's what I'd probably say. For me, I think both is true. Like, I don't like the snowflakey, too soft. I have to do everything right. At the same time, I try to be a good judge with where someone's at on their journey.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And then really, because I have run into leaders, again, without giving leaders permission to just, faithful the wounds of a friend. But I know leaders who just cut people for no, you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
They're just walking around with stuff. And I'm like,
we should.
Go ahead, tell me. Because that doesn't cut a lot of people off.
Yeah, take that razor blade that you got stuck in it. No.
Oh, my God.
That I'm saying. So I'm just saying. Like, again, I don't think you're wrong, because I think that's probably what we're dealing with more often. But there is a few leaders out there that I'm like, oh, you need to be kind.
Yeah.
And you need to figure out what that,
Oh,
what
yes.
his kindness that leads people to repentance. And you're like, people are like, well, no, that person doesn't want to follow. And I'm like, they're unteachable. I'm like, because you're a butthead. Because you're mean.
That's not us.
That is not you. That's not you. But I'm like,
yes,
Well, keep going, 'cause
100%.
yeah.
is a
So
word.
I just
Yes.
go, I want to go. I think if we're trying to do that for people, we should begin to ask ourselves that.
100%.
And really go, us as us as leaders, everyone's that, but like, are we teachable? Do we have someone in our life who's
yes.
we're somebody's plus one,
Yes.
maybe.
Should be.
We
So-
should be. Yep.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so, what does that look like for us? And keeping ourselves accountable to that process for me is equally as important in that. But yeah, I don't want like snowflakey, can't tell truth. Like,
You probably get the harsher side of me when it comes to that, because I would say I am one of the nicer people in the world.
In the whole world.
Quote that.
I'm on
CJ's
the side
full
of
quote.
nice.
I'm one of the
Technically,
nicer
I'm the
people in the
kindest
world.
person you'll ever
I,
meet.
for the most part, am
Why?
pretty nice, especially with my leaders. So if I say something and they're like,
It's the TikTok.
owie, I'm
Yeah,
all, wait,
It's the TikTok.
I got
blame
somebody else that needs to tell you what I was going to tell you, because I just said that so nice to you.
Yes.
And I literally just said, hey, could you not, slam the door on people walking in? And now you're offended.
Yes.
You're
Yeah, and I
It's
probably
very triggering, CJ. Don't talk to me like that.
that's funny.
It triggers me.
Well, I think I say the opposite because I think I'm the nicest person, and my wife was like, "You did not say that." Like 4 kids,
that
she's
didn't
like,
come
"Why
out
are
the
you
way
talking to kids like that?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What did I do?" And she's like, "You were so harsh." And I was like, "Get your butt up is harsh. How is that? How is that harsh?
Clarity
What?
is kindness.
Yeah." I go, this is the bad. That's gonna get me canceled. But I'm like, I'm married. You don't know my wife, but she ain't Mexican.
Okay.
So I'm like, that's the white person talking, babe. Quit that. Quit doing that.
He said, step out of your white fragility.
Quit doing that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Can I blame my half
Like-
Mexican for some things?
Yeah,
Because
you probably
I have
can.
some
Yeah.
things
There's
for
something
sure.
But I'm
you
just
can
saying,
put
on the
there.
flip side, I got to be aware of me because sometimes
Oh,
I'm like,
yes.
yeah, that's not
Sure.
good. So, because I'm not. I mean, I've known you forever. I am not as nice as you.
Yeah.
right. And of course not. I am
be
the
fair.
nicest
Yeah.
person in the
She
world.
said, I said what I
Like,
said.
how could you ever achieve this?
Yeah.
I think it's really good. I mean, even I heard Brandon say, like, one of my mentors. I'm like, that's the key. Like, if we don't have
Yeah.
mentors, if we don't have teachability ourselves,
Yeah.
like, I think what you're saying is so right. Like, they don't want to. Leaders hide behind that. They don't want to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody want to follow
Yeah,
you?
I don't know
yet?
anybody wants to follow you
Yes.
personally. So
And so that is, I think that's a needed conversation point.
no, 100%. I mean, we probably all know too many things about too many people.
Yes,
but I have
we do.
wonderful people
That's
that I love to hear teach, and I go, I would never want to work for you.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Ever.
God, yeah. Oh,
Let's
Jesus.
let's name the
Love
people
it.
now. All
Yes.
no.
And
Can
I-
you name your top
No.
three?
I could when this podcast is over. Oh, no, I will not be doing that.
Banning
Just so
Leaders
you
the
know,
first
I will not be doing that. That is not true. I said that. That's not accurate.
We're trying to get subscribers out. That would do it. The
That
top,
would do it.
the top 3 leaders,
100%.
I would not want to work
I
for.
would receive from but never work for.
You know what I'm saying?
Woo!
And I'm like, Lord, help me never be that person.
Oh, so true.
Mm-hmm.
It's
No,
so true.
that's painful. It's horrible. And it's horrible that you have a culture that can't tell you that,
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
you know?
True.
So
Oh, that's good. That
Anyway.
hit somebody. That convicted someone. None of
yeah.
us.
Somebody.
Because
Oh, I mean, not me. I'm
'Cause
the
you're
nicest person in the
person
world.
in the whole world.
That actually is the feedback I get from people the most.
Yep.
They're like,
they don't want to work for you?
no, well, they're like, you need to be clearer with what you're saying. You're trying to be so nice that you've like, we have no idea what we're supposed to do now. You said that like, hey, maybe if you want to, you should open the doors. I'm like,
just
oh.
maybe every now and then.
Yeah, I'm like, ah. So yeah, don't worry.
We call it fuzzy feedback.
Yes, fuzzy feedback.
Fuzzy feedback.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I'm working on it.
Guys, this was so good. I stole something from you, Brandon. I don't know where we were at some gathering and you shared bottom shelf takeaway. Do you still do it?
I do.
You do. So
I
he
did
does
in my breakout sessions today. Both of them.
every sermon at his church.
Yep.
He does. All right, guys. Here's the bottom shelf takeaway for his church. Here's the thing I want you to walk away with.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which
no,
I think
that's
is
fairly
so
practical.
good.
Bannings told me this too. He's like, he actually uses it. We go over my sermons.
And he uses it for you.
Oh.
and he'll go, well, CJ, what's your bottom shelf takeaway? And I'm all,
Oh, let's go.
now I know where he stole it from.
You stole that from
Mad
me.
at you. That's going to be a fight.
That's
after.
Yeah.
really good.
So
I got to get better at
I'm
that.
doing
on
my
my
stuff.
I know. So what would we say? You know, we want to equip pastors, and so we know the average church in America is a smaller church. They don't have mega staffs.
Yeah.
So really, they do need and they have a heart for sheep. They should have a heart to develop leaders. So I don't know, speak to the like, what's one thing you could do this week or this month to go, all right, I've bombed at this. I'm not doing it well. What can they do? Where do they start?
I think everything starts. One of just the coaches in my life has been talking to me a lot about, Brandon, how much time do you just spend thinking? Like not praying, not meditating, like just sitting down and thinking. Because the greatest, and I think every pastor needs to be reminded of this, you are a gift to your church, according to Scripture. Jesus gave gifts to the church. One of your greatest giftings is your ability to think about your flock, your leaders, your staff. And so I would say, number one, bottom shelf takeaway, spend like 30 minutes this week just thinking. If I had to make a list of people that God has called me to develop, a list of 4, a list of 6, whatever makes sense in your context, everything starts with a thought, right? Like we started as thoughts in God's mind, the earth, like all of that. I think that that's a great bottom shelf takeaway, because in thinking about it and listing it out, writing down their names and just starting to pray, Lord, where's their divine flow? Where does there seem to be availability and ability in these leaders? So I think that that's like a number one bottom shelf takeaway.
Oh, that's so good.
I want to be a Brandon.
Well, he's planted a campus. We can
You're
all
the
apply.
nicest person on the earth.
I
so
told
be
you. I told you I'm so nice.
I'm
If
all
you
in.
use a headhunting site, I'm on there.
I didn't use it. I worked for one.
because you didn't do your job. No. Guys, anything you want to add?
That was amazing.
I know. It was so good.
Come on.
I got
You just gotta
nothing.
feel
I got
leaders
nothing
better
to
than us.
add. I got nothing. I got nothing to add.
You cut us. We're all.
Yeah, you cut us. Why you gotta be so mean,
Why
Gabe?
is that a racial comment you made?
Me?
No, I'm just kidding.
Becky's
I was like,
She's
what?
not
What did I
Mexican.
do?
The razor blade. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Thanks,
I'm just
guys,
playing.
for joining us.
That was a joke. Lord help me. I'm sorry, guys. Forgive me.
Gabe will not be invited back.
Please
No.
forgive
Never
me.
again.
If you want to listen more Pastors Podcast, there are 9 other seasons. You guys can go check it out. We really do just want this resource to be for pastors. We are all pastors. We're with you in the trenches, trying to
Yes.
figure this thing out. Like Gabe said, we're just out here trying to survive.
Just trying to make it.
Yes.
I'm just a
Make it.
pastor trying to make
Just
it.
trying to make it. Come to Pastors Conference in January in Sacramento. We're in the UK in May. You can check it all out at jesusculture.com. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me. We'll let Bannon out of the closet now.
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe.
See you guys.